I've done it again, haven't I, Kia? Damn it. We'll have to start this all again. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, guys. And welcome to a Snowflakes Viewpoint. And I've dummied myself again. Damn, that's the second time I've made that mistake, guys. I had it all grand planned and it all failed, didn't I? Oh dear, oh dear. Well, you can hear me now, guys. You can hear me now. Let me know what you guys think of the video. I did see number 3 saying that it was a bit loud, so I did turn it down a little bit after I saw his comment. I have been trying to play around with the settings on that to try and turn the volume down on that. I will be fiddling about with it, playing it like a good maybe 10 minutes or so before the actual stream starts. So I will do the greeting for everybody in just a moment. But first of all, hope you guys all had a lovely weekend. Hope you all had a nice weekend. So obviously it was the half term and all the kids are now back at school, so all that kind of jazz. I was back at work officially last week, so I'm obviously yesterday Sunday, I was absolutely knackered, so I didn't have too much to do. Today I had a day off, so luckily I had plenty of time to prepare. Now, if you've seen my community posts, I've got a marathon of work to come up with me. Volume is fine with me. Okay, good to hear that, Kia. I will come back to you, greet you guys in just a moment. I've got some notes I just want to run by as well. Guys, there's lots of links for universal basic income and all that stuff in the description, guys, if you want to have a look at that. We're going to be looking at an article from Wire about what is universal basic income. This was a few years ago, but I think I've already had a look at it. I think it's a fascinating one to have a look at. We're going to be looking at the one from The Guardian. Some of you guys may have seen that from Bowler Hat Man already. But I wanted to have a look at it again because I haven't really looked at it too much in detail. And we're also going to look at one from a couple of weeks ago as well, about a state in America looking to go to having a universal basic income too. And if we have time, we'll look at other news articles as well. I do have some funny videos and one positive story if we have time for us, guys. So just a couple of things just to go on, just in case anybody was asking. I don't think anyone here is probably not interested, but I just wanted to put this out there. So in case people are wondering why there was no music night on the Discord server yesterday, that's because I made a decision that I'm not going to do the music night. One, I wanted to go and see. I wanted to see our good friend All Shorts, who returned finally yesterday. Thank God for that. It's so great for Marcus All Shorts to finally have his channel back, and I wanted to be there for the live stream for his show. So that's why there was no music night. Music night has been moved to next weekend. It's on the events on the tab on the Discord server if you guys want to join us then. So I just wanted to clarify that. Obviously, guys, myself and Lee Khan will be back finally Wednesday together, 9 p.m. For at least another 2 weeks, and then I've got I'm going on holiday again. Yeah, I know I'm going to be on holiday again. Video schedule wise, so guys, if you've seen my community mess post earlier today, I was talking about how I've been posting my videos every kind of 3 hours throughout the day. So tomorrow I've got two main videos dropping at 9 a.m. and 3 p.m. respectively. I've got one shorts video dropping at 6 a.m., 12 p.m. and 6 p.m. and 9 p.m. So I've got 6 videos for you guys tomorrow on the channel if you guys want to have a look at them. I also got tomorrow on Wednesday, I have at the moment 2 videos and 1 shorts video at the moment. My work schedule is pretty hectic, so I'm not going to be sure how I'm going to be able to do videos for Thursday, considering I'm doing a late shift on Wednesday, and then obviously when I finish a late shift on Wednesday I have to focus obviously on the Snowflake show, so I'm not going to be able to do any content that night. So I'm not sure how I'm going to be able to do things, but we'll see how things go obviously there. So yeah, literally I have to be at work at 8 o'clock in the morning tomorrow, but that's fine, we'll get through it, guys. Also, guys, if you have a TikTok account, I also have a TikTok if you guys wanted to see that. All my YouTube shorts, which are that you guys see on the channel, are also there if you guys want to see that as well. Also, just finally, before I come to you guys in the video, in the chat there, LBC, on LBC, guys, they have a video on Nick Ferrari and James O'Brien were talking about UBI with themselves and callers. Definitely worth checking out if you guys haven't. And of course, as I mentioned, Bowler Hatman had a video on UBI. So if you guys want some more information there, obviously you guys can check out there. Right, let's have a scroll all the way up to see who we got in the comments. All Shorts is here. Hello, All Shorts. Good to see you. He's got a video of his own. 6 a.m. tomorrow, guys, on Universal Basic Income. Definitely worth check that out, guys. While walking the dogs, I believe. Yes, he's walking the dogs as well. Good evening, Lee 91 Leeds. Hope you're well. Kier, good to see you there in the chat as well. Gingers, good to see you there as well. Hope you guys are well. Chatty Rat, good to see you there. Duke Vengeance, why does nobody in Star Wars use a shotgun? Lightsaber wielders. Very nice, very nice. Good evening, number 3. Thank you so much for plugging my videos on Twitter. Much appreciated, my friend. You've absolutely blessing man you are. Really appreciate it, my friend. 30, good to see you there. Greetings and salutations, elite people. Yes, or elites. I don't know. Maybe we call ourselves elites. I don't know. I haven't really thought of a right way. No voice, no sound, no sound, no sound, no sound. Silly me. Sound being an elite. Hello, Lefty Boa. Good to see you there as well. And Ben Shaw's good to see you there as well. Hope you're well. Have I missed anybody else? Doesn't look like I've missed anybody else. Right, guys, let's go dive straight into this story, guys. Well, not so much a story, but an article. So this is from Wired, guys. So this was back in 2019. So Universal Basic Income Explained. So I think it's better if I kind of just go through this and we'll talk this step by step. While you guys are, let me know your thoughts and comments about Universal Basic Income in the chat there, because I'm definitely eager to hear you guys thoughts on Universal Basic Income. And yes, we will be talking about, of course, the trial that's going to be coming up in England as well. So, Universal Basic Income Explained by Wired. So, an appetite for UBI, Universal Basic Income, is growing around the world. Initial trials are underway, but what does UBI mean for people? So, in 1516, the English scholar Thomas More published Utopia, a political satire depending on the island where conditions as they should be. In it, he made the first reference as an idea that is now being debated and tested across the world. Every citizen, on Moore's Island, which should be pointed out also features slaves in shacks and chains of gold, is provided with some means of livelihood. They are grinding effort a universal basic income, or UBI. So what is a universal basic income? In its fundamental form, UBI hasn't changed much from Moore's original proposition. The idea is to give every citizen, regardless of means, a sum of money regularly and for life. Usually enough they don't need to work. The amount of money and so the level of citizens' income security can vary widely, but more on that later. Basic income is the idea that usually to replace other existing social security benefits, everyone receives uniform, flat rate payment, says Luke Martinelli, a research associate at the University of Bath. The motivation is to reduce the relief on other benefits by providing fairly modest income floors. James Cookie, the head of RSA Scotland, offers a more specific definition. Basic income is regular and secures payment directly to every individual within a country. It comes from the state, and I think it has to have a certain core element to it. It is universal, it is unconditional, and it is regular, secure, and direct. UBI proponents are international and politically diverse. They range from radical lefties in the post-capitalist variety like Paul Mason and Aaron Batsky to Silicon Valley gurus like Elon Musk and Mark Zuckerberg. It's really fascinating how an international conversation this is, says Cook. I did a session last week on a group in Ontario. There is one in the World Congress in India this week, and watching US Democrats' presidential hopeful Andrew Yang campaign, which he didn't win by the way, it's been fascinating to see how far the chain he's got the discussion on UBI. Yeah, Andrew Yang really got people talking about universal basic income when he was running for candidacy for President of the United States. I think that's fair to say. That's kind of where I first heard of it from him and from Max Robespierre, of course, as well. In May, the Economics Guy Standing represented a report outlining a proposal for UBI to no less than Shadow Chancellor of the Exchequer, John MacDonald. Remember, guys, this was back in 2019. So why is everyone interested in UBI now? A variable smock grass of reasons. The the generally dire and unfair state of a high-income economics is one. As economic Brian Braco-Matovich has shown, equality has been rising steadily within these countries, defined by a World Bank as a country with a gross national income per capita of $12,376, that's 10 grand, 100 or more pounds since the 1980s. The income of these countries' middle and lower middle classes has stagnated. The richer 1% has seen a wealth increase, earning twice as much as the bottom 50%. In Scotland, it is very much driven from a social justice perspective, says Cook. So the idea of concerning of how people engage in a more fair way and share more in society, how we acknowledge the kind of common good and share resources that we have. Then there are more specific criticisms in the provisions that UBI would seek to supplement or replace. Means test benefits, it is argued, essentially discouraging and penalise people from earning more money and returning to work. The recognition of unpaid, usually female labour like caring for the elderly and household, is also a factor. There are proposed public health benefits too. Martinelli points to a study in Canada where hospitalisations and mental health problems were alleviated by increased income security. People might work for employment rather than survival. It would theoretically allow people to take risks, said Mariotti, to go back and retrain or re-educate, or to have a career break. These are positive, productive, enhanced changes. Other arguments fall in the robots are coming for our jobs category. There in the US there has been a push from the perspective of artificial intelligence, automation. The impact of this is going to have on jobs, says Coe. That's partly why you see so much interest support by some of the entrepreneurs. To be brutally honest, there is an element of self-preservation. They're concerned that they're going to impact on jobs and people with pitchforks might turn at the front door. Even the environment might benefit, said Mark Maskelyne, Professor of Earth Science at the UCL. Because when we work less, we consume less. We are convinced UBI will cut down on consumption and poor environmental practices. So UBI proponents all agree. No. One of the major problems with UBI is what it actually entails in all specifics. It can mean that anything to anyone, says Anna Cook, a principal fellow at the New Economics Foundation and a strong opponent. The vagueness makes finding unity in proposals difficult. The suggestion that UBI has a broad support actually breaks down when you start looking at those different views actually won, said Mariani, and the idea that you can get all the goals with a single scheme breaks down as well. Though divisions run deeper than political orientation, it's helpful to break UBI down into differences between right and left. The specifics and motivations of the two camps vary widely. Let's just have a quick look in the chat before anything. So, Mad Monk, good to see you there. Mad Monk, hope you're well. Sophie Schultz, good to see you there as well. Simon says, Youth 55, good to see you there as well. Hope you're well as well. Have I missed anybody else? Everybody's saying hello to everybody else. Cool. So, what's the right-wing version then? There's a right-wing version of UBI. Yes, there is, apparently. Modern interest in UBI actually begins on the right, with Anglo-Australian economics Frederick Hayes, who argued for a certain minimum income for everybody, a floor below which nobody even fall, even when he is unable to provide for himself. The conservative attraction to UBI is broadly liberalisation, as Sam Bowen of the Adam Smith Institute explained in 2013. The ideal welfare system is a basic income, replacing the existing anti-poverty programs and government carryouts. In these understandings, a patriarchal state is unjustifiable restrictions on a citizen's freedom. It must be shrinked. Its train of evasive, illegitimate welfare provisions and public service sweep away. In its place, the citizen is set free. Here is your cash, go get busy. Needless to say, this view provokes some rancor among progressives. There are variations of basic income, even with all the work I do on it, which I will fight against tooth and nail, says Cook. This argument is preferred by Silicon Valley gurus, Cook says. They want people to have enough money so that they can go shopping and buy their goods and not riot on the street. But they don't want social progress. UBI is attracted to them. The basic criticism of UBI in this form is that heartlessly cruel, as John Lancaster articulated in the London Review of Books. As few seconds though, I will show you that this is a disposition. Losing my words again, guys. even nightmarish version of a state which has retreated from many of its core functions and faced with a citizen's needs, it takes up the posture of a permanent shrug. So what is the left side of this suggesting? The progressive version of a universal basic income usually involves in being paid on top of existing citizen benefits. The most talked about of these experiments took place in Finland by the Social Insurance Institute in Kenya from January 2017 until December 2018. 2,000 unemployed randomly selected citizens were given a monthly flat payment of €560. That's £490. This was a very low sum, explains Mishka, a researcher at Keta. This is equal to the minimum unemployment benefit in Finland. If you were getting earning related benefits, then your income was much higher. One of the key aims of the study was to find whether UBI affects a person's motivation to work. So how did the Finnish experiment go? The main results related to employment and income was nothing really happening during the first year of the experiment. Similarization says, basically people with UBI didn't go and find jobs. Well-being may have raised, the treatment goods were happier and less stressed, though Similar emphasises that the evaluation is going. The RSA has also modelled several UBI schemes in Scotland as replacement for Social Security. Cook emphasises that housing and disability benefits would stay the same. One of basic income, about $2,400 per person a year, would cost $2 billion a year to implement. $2,400 seems a lot for a basic income, in my opinion, guys. The other, a basic income of about $4,800 per person per year, would cost $9.5 billion. The RSA found that the former would reduce relative household poverty by 8.5%, the latter by 33%. I should wait to hold judgment before saying that. So here we go, guys. What are the criticisms? There are quite a few. The idea that people will quit the labour market is one. The idea that we'd be better to target the poor is another, says Marjorie. Then there's the moral argument that it's not fair to let people scourge. I guess the flip side of that is if you give people income which is unconditional, you're not actively helping them to integrate into society. You're basically encouraging them to drop out. Related to this concern is a worry about how people will usually spend the money. And does not state have a responsibility to curb substance abuse, for instance? Yeah. So there is obviously that fair idea of, you're giving it to a homeless person on the street, and instead of actually making something of themselves, they're going to go and buy more drugs, for example. That is a possibility. We know that. For example, we know that's something that is more than happy, and we also know that as one of the criticisms, of course, is that it can discourage some people not to work at all and just to sit at home. That is entirely possible. Cook has serious qualms about the idea of any of these studies have worked in financially viable scenes. Please don't say there is evidence that it works. It doesn't, she says. This is one of the most dishonest claims of some of its advocates. They say it's been trialled, it's been shown to work. I haven't done a thorough review of all the trials, but there is a literature on. There is no evidence to show that UBI could work in its fully developed form. If you look at the evaluation in India, for example, it says that it will only work if you've got public service. Cook explains that the real issue here is funding. There is no evidence in her view that you can have a generous welfare state and solid social infrastructure along full fat, i.e. giving out money to people to live on. UBI, pushing for UBI in the sense of doing the right job for them. It's only viable if we decimate the public sector. It gives a huge amount of power to those funding it, whether it's the NGOs or the government, says Cook. It is in the hands of a single lever, whereas services, which is what I think we should be focusing on. They are collective, they are democratic, and more diffused. Far more difficult to turn off in a single switch. Cook acknowledges the fear but disagrees. I understand the desire to protect the public sector, he says, but I think arguing that there is not enough money pays very strongly to the very people who are trying to undermine the public sector. They'll just say there's not enough money to keep doing what we are doing. We need to be more creative in our approach to generating revenue, he says. Just look beyond the income tax. Data is the biggest resource of the 21st century and currently has no social benefits. There is ways that we can start to look at that and could have a significant impact on revenue generation. So what is the bottom line then? The bottom line is, although UBI remains popular, paying for it continues to be a fundamental sticking point. What crosses the right and the left is that it's a waste of money, says Marty. Either you think that money will be best spent other ways, i.e. more specifically targeting the poor, or it shouldn't be taxed and it should be left in people's pocket. The question is, for all the expense and all the effort that was involved in UBI, does it really do enough? Is it worth it? And I think that is definitely not clear. So again, if you guys want to read that yourselves, that's from Wired. I think it was a fascinating one there from Universal Basic Income Explained by Wired. The link for that will be in the description. So what do you guys think in the chat before we look at before we go to The Guardian? One Angry Pagan is here. Good to see you. Jow, good to see you there too. Hope you're well. The Tories will hate UBI. I love it even more than I did before. Universal minimum income, Tory. It's not universal. Is it? Would you consider it universal, number 3, though, if it's not for everybody, though? Universal credit. Yeah, that's what Keir's imply. None of these studies demonstrate economic effects on the exchequer. No, that's absolutely true, All Schultz. That's something that me and Max both, I think, when I tweeted saying that it's not been saying that none of these tests will prove it. I think Max agreed with me on Twitter on that one. Good evening, Jow. Hope you're well. Good to see you. You may be correct. That's why I want to model the wider system. We need, sound. This work. Is sound all right? He's asking about sound there. What about AI? Yep, I'm sure AI will get to that in a moment. I agree, but we need a bigger module, maybe with a free port. So Larry the Cat, good to see you there. How much money is being lost to big businesses and corporation evading taxes? Do shareholders do any work for these big individuals, and that they get no tax on those? Yeah. UB40, that comes next. Sold them once, but I was conducting on beer in a company. Okay. Only 30 cases used in the UK. I think it's a charity, and that's doing this, or funding required, I think. Yeah, it is a charity. We'll look at the article in a moment here. There is more than enough money in this country to be able to look after its own people. That is true. UBI or no UBI, Duke, that is absolutely true. One Angry Pagan says the question is really how to best implement UBI, depending on where it is implemented. That is a very difficult question. Yeah. Perhaps we need UBI tokens valid for selected services that will maintain the market module, but then it wouldn't be universal if you're only giving it to selected people. That would be my counter argument. It wouldn't be a UBI then. Who will pay for UBI, says Vincent. Yeah, good to see you, Vincent. Hope you're well. AI, smaller workforce, less income. Yeah, that is a difficult question. You know, Tufton Shrinks thinks tanks will spend money to rubbish it. Yeah. Corporation tax. The entire system needs an overhaul after an open debate. Yeah. Let's look at the trial before I give my big thoughts on it, guys. We're going to go straight to The Guardian here. So this is obviously this is the one, obviously. Let me just switch my camera. That doesn't. Oh, not that one. Let me switch. Can you guys see that? All right. Let me just see. You guys can just. I think you guys can. My avatar is blocking. I am going to remove that. Can you guys see that now? No. Hold on. Sorry, I'm just being a bit annoying because my camera is in the way and I don't like it, and I want you guys to be able to see it. Alright, give me one moment. I'm just gonna play about here for no reason whatsoever. Can I remove you? Sorry guys, just give me 1 second. I did not think of that. There we go. Right, get rid of the avatar, not important. We don't know if the GDP would change under UBI. Right, so this is the article that dropped from The Guardian. Most, as I said, Bowler Hat Man has covered it, but I'm going to cover it as well. So universal basic income trial of $1,600 a month to be trialled in 2 places in England. The scheme will run for 2 years and participate will be monitored. The what effects it will have on mental and physical health. Mental and physical health is the... Oh, excuse me, I don't know what's wrong with me today. Must be a stomach. Mental and physical health is one of the big factors, big arguments that I have for it. But I'll get to that in a moment. So I haven't read this, so let's have a look at this, guys. So a universal basic income of $1,600 a month is to be trialled in England for the first time in a pilot programme. 30 people will be paid a lump sum without condition for each month for 2 years and will be observed to understand the effects of their lives. 2 places in England have been selected for the micro pilot scheme: Central Jarrow in North East England and East Finchley in North London. London? Interesting. Okay. Will Storage, the director of the research of the think tank Autonomy, which is backing the plan, says the 1,600 figure, this is a substantial amount used for universal basic income, which usually covers people's basic needs, but we want to see the effects of this unconditional lump sum has on people's mental and physical health, whether they choose to work or not. Our society is going to require some form of basic income in the coming years, given the determinant of climate change, tech disruption and industrial transition that lies ahead. This is why building the evidence base and public engagement now is important, so the ground is well prepared for a national implementation. Advocates argue that universal basic income can provide a level of economic security to everyone, as it is seen as a potential solution to insecurity in the labour market, while others say it's expensive and support should be targeted. Last year, Andy Burnham, the Mayor of Greater Manchester, said UBI was an idea whose time has come. As he spoke on the cost of living crisis, Burnham said a universal basic income will put solid foundations beneath everybody so that they can have a life with security and stop worrying about everything. We also know, as mentioned in the previous story, obviously there's been talk about it in Scotland as well. I'm pretty sure Nicola Sturgeon has spoken on it as well, guys. Those of Scots in the chat, let me know in the comments, because I'm pretty sure Nicola Sturgeon has spoken about it as well. But I think obviously they couldn't really push more with it because obviously their hands are tied by Westminster. Similar pilots are already underway in other countries. In Wales, the devolved government is running a scheme paying $1,600 a month for 2 years to young people leaving care. They said to report the outcome after the trial finishes. Yeah, I covered this I think I even covered this on one of our Snowflake shows quite a while ago. This one in particular, I'm pretty sure on that one. In 2020, more than 170 MPs and peers urged the government to introduce a universal basic income to give everyone the financial support they need to provide themselves and for their families during the coronavirus pandemic. Cleo Goodman, co-founder of the initiative Basic Income Conversation, said, "We're hopeful that this plan will result in the first ever basic income pilots in England. No one should ever be facing poverty. Having to choose between heating and eating one of the wealthiest countries in the world, basic income has the potential to simplify the welfare system and tackle poverty in Britain. A control group will be recruited and not paid the basic income to monitor their experiences during the same period. Participants will be randomly selected from a pool of volunteers, with 20% of places allocated to people with disabilities." Stoll said, "All the evidence shows that it would directly alleviate poverty and boost millions of people's well-being. The potential benefits are just too large to ignore. With the decades ahead set to be full economic shocks due to climate change and new forms of automation, basic income is going to be a crucial part of securing livelihoods for the future." Right, so I'm just going to come back to me. So I'm just going to see what you guys say in the chat. A vicious cycle of debt to give spend. The problem is the systematic, hence the system must change, says Joe. Agree. Productivity may increase, especially of art, says number 3. In response to all shorts, GDP is required to fund service. That is true. But productivity will change, says all shorts. I think it will help GDP, adds more spending power, says Mad Monk. Number 3 says there, I favour UBI plus sales tax. Rich have to pay the tax, the level adjusted for any price increase. The tax revenue would help fund the UBI payments. It's difficult to emphasise. Or envision size. Giles says, I may be economic and annoying. The basic equations does not change if you cannot produce wealth. You might give money for people to spend, but will you be? Just see, the future is funky, says number 3. Ouch, says all shorts. Was that Wally that made you out say that? Will they pay for more products yet train for the better jobs, not having 2/3 of jobs to survive or open a business, says Kier. Yeah, I'm struggling to think, says Stu. Yeah, it is a lot to think about, to be fair. Yes, we do need a reset. Let's start with the so-called Tory democracy. Yep, we will do that. I'm sure we'll be casting our ballots at the general election. I'm sure that we'll be doing that. Social care will drastically be positively affected. Yeah, I agree. I agree, all shorts, absolutely. Jal says they are creating a cybernetic James Brown as the cyborg will kick you while they sing some funky tunes. Okay. The funky Terminator. I want a peaceful resolution. Somebody has to, says number 3. One angry pagan says, I think that UBI can only work properly when implemented alongside other policies such as sensitive 4-day work week, free education, healthcare, plus decentralisation. So Larry the Cat says, UBI provides a level of wealth distribution. If people have money they spend, it can put in that back into the economy, but they seriously need better, more enforced business and corporation tax. So, right, so obviously, if you guys know me for quite a while, I'm a big advocate of universal basic income. In my honest opinion, and I am going to be blunt, I think 1,600 is, in my opinion, too much. I think it should be a bit lower, in my opinion. I can understand why it's that high at the moment, and my general consensus is that the reason why they're trialing it at 1,600 and not a bit less, because I think, you know, myself and Max, and you've heard Max say this, around about £1,000 a month, yeah, roughly, of a universal basic income. But I think why it's £1,000 a month, but why they're doing it at 1,600 is because of the whole cost of living crisis, inflation, the soaring bills, and all that kind of stuff. Which is why, personally, I think it should be much lower. But I also understand why it's at this threshold. But they're doing it at this threshold because bills are too high, food is too high, just making ends meet and being able to live is too high. Maybe we should start a Discord server. I've already got two Discord servers to run, number 3. I'm not running a third one. we could have a UBI section on the Snowflake server if we really want to. Link it to inflation. Yeah, that's a good idea. Link it to inflation is a good idea. That can definitely be an idea to it as well. But the way I see the universal basic income, guys, is that it, in my opinion, it pays for itself. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, let's just take a step back for a second, okay? So, yeah, 1,600 does seem fine. So let me take a step back for a moment. So you guys are asking, how does it pay for itself? Well, obviously, some of you guys said in the chat, well, what about GDP? How do you grow the economy? All these kind of things, right? Well, if people have money to buy things, to buy essential stuff, yeah, to buy food, to buy the shopping, to buy clothes, to buy the usual stuff, what does that do? Builds the economy. You know, you're building an economy in that of itself, because now not everyone is going to put the money into the UK economy. That's true, okay? But what you are doing is you put money in the hands of somebody who can't buy the necessary needs, okay? Who can't buy essentials, right? Yeah, a sensible person with that money who can't be able to afford basic needs, guys, what are they going to do? They're going to be able to buy the basic needs. They're not going to need to go to the food bank anymore. They're not going to need to get not going to need to go to the food bank. They're going to be able to buy the things that they need. They're going to be able to go to the shops they need. Let's just look at it also from a business point of view, guys. Yeah, this benefits businesses greatly. Yeah, because those people right now, doctors, nurses, we've got mothers with children who can't afford free school meals. Yeah, just think about all those people right now who are struggling to make ends meet. Now think about that £1,600 you put into their hands, yeah? Do you honestly think they're going to go out and buy drugs? No, they're not going to buy drugs. They're not going to buy drugs, yeah, realistically, guys. They're going to use that money, yeah, especially single mothers, they're going to use that to be able to buy the essentials that their children need to give them the best chance they can in the future. Yeah, and that money is going to go into the economy because it's going to the shops that are struggling to make shops that are struggling right now to make money right now, whether it's charity shops or supermarket chains. or whatever it may be. Yeah, they're going to be able to buy the essential needs they need to keep themselves going and to give the children the best possible chance. So that essentially, that money actually in a way is invests into the economy over time. Now we're talking about a long-term project here. I'm not talking about like 1 or 2 years. We're talking about 10, 20, 30 years. Like, this is a long thing. Yeah, the idea is that over time, guys, it will build the economy. It will, and not only that, guys, think about the mental health aspect. Yeah, when people are struggling with money, they're always worried. They're always concerned. They're worried about how they're going to pay their bill. They're going to worry about how they're going to feed their kid. All that stuff is going to be taken away because they have a threshold to support themselves on. Then there's the other aspect. Yeah, this is other aspect that I've really been thinking about as well. Yeah, let's say you want to be an entrepreneur, you want to be a businessman, you want to be able to take a risk and actually be a businessman yourself or businesswoman. Yeah, and you have a job and you're making decent money, but you don't really have something that you're not making a lot of money yourself. Well, UBI can help you do that, because what it does is that £1,600 we're talking about, guys, you put some of that away every single month, you start building that up, then you can start your own business. It encourages even business, guys. It allows you to be able to freely take a risk of be able to develop and build a business without the fear of being what's the word? Going under, because when having to go to the bank to get a loan to be able to start a business, you won't need to do that because you'll be getting that money from a universal basic income. So you're encouraging business. You're encouraging entrepreneurs. So there is that aspect as well of it from UBI. So yeah, sure, all sorts. I'm not going to say, but there is so many possibilities of what they can do. This helps everybody. Now, in all seriousness, yes, of course, there will be people that will abuse the system. There is absolutely no question, and there's no question, guys, that it will abuse the system. We know that. There will be people who will simply just say, you know what, I'm not going to contribute, or that they're happy to sit at home and do nothing. And an argument people will make is that, well, why should we be paying out of taxpayers' money for someone to sit at home and do absolutely nothing with their lives? And that is a fair argument, but is it not a choice? But is it not a life choice as well? Isn't the point of a government to look after its people, regardless of how rich or how poor they are? Everybody should be well looked after, guys. I think that is a fair assessment. Everybody needs to be well looked after in life, whether you're rich or poor, whatever it is. I personally think that universal credit should be completely scrapped. I think universal basic income should replace it, and I think everybody should get it, rich and poor. That's my personal opinion. I think it should be a tier system depending on where you are. I think it should be a tier system based on inflation, as all sorts mentioned, but I also think it's based on your finances as well, where the lower your threshold, the lower you are, like in terms of income, the more you will get from the state, and as you go up, you get less money from the universal basic income. But there won't be a point where you don't get any money. You always guaranteed money. That's my general consensus on it right now. My opinion may change on that in the future, but I think the poorest in society should get the most, and the richest in society should get the fewest from universal basic income, but still get a income from that, because then everybody benefits from it. And so those in the middle will get a medium amount, and those at the lowest will get the most, obviously. The argument, obviously, as well, saying that it will also give people, people can still go to work. Not everybody wants to sit at home and sit on their hands and feet. Let's also look about the other thing. We talked about mental health, guys. Think of our doctors and nurses right now who are struggling. Think of the difference it could make to them. The doctors, the nurses, the cleaners, all those workers right now. Think of that money that could make a difference to their lives. Right now, obviously, they're fighting tooth and nail to get a better pay. Think about them for one moment, and I think about what they're having to go through. The teachers, teachers right now who are doing absolutely everything they can to give the best possible career, best possible future for the next generation of children. Think of the money they could donate for that. It's just an uplifting thing. So when you say, how do we pay for it? I don't think it should be. Should the rich pay for it? There's a fair argument that I think the rich should pay for it. But I also believe, and my general belief is that it will pay for itself, but it will pay for itself over the next 10, 20, 30 years or so, guys. That's what I think it will, because what it will do and what it should do is improve the economy, improve the GDP of that country of when it is done. So let me just see what else you guys are saying. Everybody's laughing at all Schultz's joke. I don't think UBI would affect inflation all that much because it would be ensuring a regular flow of goods and demands. With just-in-time economy, inflation would become self-regulatory. Okay, that's okay, Duke. That's fine. I need a drink. Yeah, I don't blame you. I need one too. Would it stop recessions too? That's a good question. If everybody gets a basic income, lefty boater, let's just, gets everybody off the street, everybody's able to make ends meet. In theory, it should do. I say in theory, though. The reason why I say in theory is because all economies are tied to each other, aren't they? We talked about, the US have got a debt ceiling, don't they? And they have this massive debt ceiling, and they can't default on their debt. That economy ties to all other economies, world economies. So to say would it stop a recession? I don't think it will, simply because of how other markets, how other other countries' economies would react to it. So I do think whether it will stop recessions, it may stop recessions in your own country, but it's not something that I don't think it can completely stop. A UBI level of, say, £1,000 a month would encourage people to move away from the expensive areas like London, which is good. Yes, that's another thing as well. People are bound to London here in the UK because London is where all the money is. And it's not fair. Look at, all the places outside. I mean, me and my partner, we like to travel a lot. We like to go to coastal and outside places because we live just outside London. We don't technically live in it, but we live outside. And when I go to places and travel, and I see like some of the coastal towns and that, and I see them run down, I see a lot of boarded up shops, and I see these towns and that, and I see the prices of houses and that, the money, that money, that £1,000 or £1,600, whatever it is. Think of the uplift it would be for people outside of London. Such a boon for them. Gives people what if it gave people the access to the power to the internet? Everybody has the power to the internet. Imagine asking for a receipt to declare their expenses. Oh, yeah. Imagine that UBI would replace state pension, QAP, surviving spouse, disabilities, etc. I use child benefit. You could have different rates under 18. You're working back. Yeah, I would do like a special one for disabilities. Disabilities, Cherry Rat. Definitely would. Universal bonking income. Disability is more complicated as two disabilities. That's the same. Careers need UBIs too. How many pensioners would it take on a new career that could afford that if they could afford? Would take on a new career if they could afford to live? I'm not sure about how this would affect pensions. I don't have an answer for that one. I don't really have a theory really too much on that one, guys. Officially implemented, would there be half to some kind of government committee or department overseeing UBI, put at least one backstop or possible corruption in? Our whole system in the UK it needs complete restructuring anyway. If I was an American, I want it in the Constitution, if I'm honest, that everybody has been guaranteed a minimum amount of income. That if we had a constitution of some sorts in the UK, that's what I would want, and it wouldn't be allowed to change. That's my opinion in it. It would not make us better defended against recession, but not impervious. Yep. Round here, Wetherspoons and off licenses would be happy if the locals get free money. Exactly. But it's a, you know, it's still economy. It's still money that's going into the economy, Ben. You know, okay, you don't want it to go to Wetherspoons, but it's, you know, that's still money going to the economy. That's still people socialising more. You know, benefit for their health, for the mental health side of things. You know, we want people to socialise. You know, people going to pubs and that it's a good thing. It's a good thing to keep that social interaction, especially the face-to-face interaction. It's very important. If UBI came in, I'd be able to afford to transition, says Sophie Schultz. Money gets recirculated. Someone buys something and pays 10% sales tax, say. The vendor gets 90% or so and uses most of the income to buy materials, which incurs a sales tax and so on. Yeah. But doesn't that account for foreign investment? Internet should be for free for all. It's basically a necessity now. Yeah, internet should be completely free for everyone. Absolutely, lefty boater. I think yeah, we should have some kind of state internet broadband or some sorts. You know, I'm definitely in the face of some kind of nationalised broadband service that everybody should be provided to. I think, in terms of you just saying about the internet thing, because going off topic quickly, I think the way we pay for our national healthcare service is what I think we should be paying the exact same way for broadband. Everybody pays in a certain amount. Everybody in the whole of the UK pays in a certain amount, and everybody gets broadband. And everybody, every shop, every home gets broadband. Everybody gets internet. Everybody can access the World Wide Web to be able to give them the best opportunities they can, because when people don't have the internet, they're very limited to what they can do. You know, nowadays people come into shops with CVs and we have to turn them down because you can't take them because of confidentiality, you know, sensitive information, that kind of stuff. These days, a lot of businesses now, if you go around with a CV, they say, oh, you need to apply online now. And if you don't have internet, well, you know, you got to go to an internet cafe to do all that, you know. What should I call the new server? Via Revolution, perhaps, or Funky Future? What do you suggest, dear readers? No, I'll set up. In all seriousness, I'll set up a slot on the Snowflake server if you guys are really serious about it. Lefty Bio, there are free access via hotspots everywhere, and you can clear it on your taxes. Free access in public buildings. Yeah. Thank you guys for that. That's really good stuff. Oh God, we're already at 1:45. Oh, that's really good. Well, I've got one more UBI. One we'll look at, but before we do, guys, let me just I'm going to give you guys a funny video before we look at more UBI, because you probably guys have already seen this one, but I think we need a bit of laughter, because it's just to kind of break the ice a little bit here. Good old Rosie Holt.
Is Boris Johnson not responsible for any of this? I mean, is he a sort of totally innocent party?
Well, I think if anything, Boris has been too trusting. There's a degree of trust in having a party with someone, and I see Boris as being led like a lamb to the slaughter, but, you know, led through various parties. You know, party. You know.
He's been a little Lord Fauntleroy along all of this, and just wandered through and been, you know, the victim of awful, devious other people.
Well, look, at the end of the day, I've seen the hatred and the vitriol he's getting. You know, if that happened to little Lord Fauntleroy in the book, you know, it would have been harrowing. Let me tell you. And people have got to leave him alone. He's going to be a father again, and you know, we've got to move on. Yes, nobody's perfect, and people died under his watch, but he's writing books now. You know, he's writing a political memoir and a book about Shakespeare, and that is what people should be concentrating on.
Concentrating on? Really? Really? Is that really what we should be concentrating on, guys? That's definitely what we should be concentrating on, right? Yeah, of course it is, Boris. Yeah, of course it is. Oh dear. Right. So this is this one was on so basic income Earth network, guys. That's BIEM. in the links to the description, they have a Congress taking place between from Wednesday to Saturday, 23rd to the 26th of August, in Korea, Seoul. There's a link in the description if you guys want to have a look at that. I don't know if I'm pretty sure they might have some video footage of it there. I don't think any of us are planning to go to Korea, but might be worth just keeping an eye on those dates if you guys are interested there, to get some more insight there. So what is this one here from Basic Income Earth Network? So a ballot initiative in Oregon is making the progress towards stabilizing a state UBI. So in Oregon, a ballot initiative is making progress towards establishing a statewide universal basic income. So Portland, Oregon, the Oregon Rebate Ballot Initiative campaign was announced early success in collecting necessary signatures to qualify for the November 2024 general election. The Oregon Rebate will establish a statewide, excuse me, I'll keep burping like mad here. A statewide universal basic income in the form of yearly rebates valued at approximately $750. Every Oregon, regardless of age, income or status, will be eligible to receive the yearly rebate. For example, a 4-person household will receive 4 rebates, or about $3,000 tax-free. So every single person in a household in Oregon, if it gets implemented, could get $750. So, and they said 4-person household getting $3,000. The rebates are funded by increasing the minimum tax rate for the large corporations doing business in Oregon. Currently, the minimum corporation tax rate for corporations with more than 25 million of annual Oregon sales in less than 1%, and the Oregon rebate proposes to increase this minimum corporation tax to 3%, still well below the 10% of personal rate Oregons pay. Oregonis know that the biggest corporations are not paying their fair share, and that yearly cash rebates will help them make ends meet, said Antonio Gisbit, Chief Pensioner of the Oregon Rebate. Just give me 1 second, guys. I need to get some... I need to quench my thirst because I'm talking non-stop, as you guys know. The scoop of the Oregon Rebate is noteworthy. Every year, approximately $3 billion of new revenue will be rebated approximately, and among the approximately 4 million Oregonis, they call themselves, using the UBI Center's basic income builder. The campaign estimates an overall reduction in poverty and approximately 15%, and specifically a reduction in child poverty approximately 26%. Cash is care, cash reduces poverty and provides opportunity, and cash stimulates in our local economies and communities, said Antonio Gisbit. To date, amongst others, the Oregon Rebate campaign has been endorsed by PCUN, the Oregon's Working Family Party, the Pacific Green Party, and the Oregon's Progressive Party. The campaign has until July 24th to collect the statutory requirement of 1,430 signatures to qualify for the 2024 general election. Those interested in reading the full text of the petition learn more and get involved with the campaign to do so. So, their idea here is obviously $750. And every person in a single household would get it. That's the other thing we didn't discuss as well. We didn't bring up, I don't think any of us brought up the very fact that if everybody's entitled to universal basic income, so what does that mean for those living in one household? Another argument that people will make as well, guys, in the chat, is some people have a lot of people living in one house. So, for example, there are some other nationalities, for example, have sometimes have 5, 6, 7, 8 people living in one home. Would every single one of those people be entitled to a universal basic income? Where there's big families, guys. You know, are we giving like a family of let's say a massive family of 8? Let's say all the kids are 18 above. Are we giving them all £1,000 a month? So is the state giving them £8,000 a month? That one household, you know. That's another question I think we need to look at when it comes to that. What is that? 7-hour one was a killer then. Are we talking about the 7-hour stream? A sales tax solves the problem too, as long as they buy stuff here. Big corporations not paying their fair share would not have guessed. Are you going to set up your own server? Oh, okay. No worries, number 3. Yeah, I mean, it's just, you know, I just can't run. I'm already running enough things as it is, and working full time, so I can't. Yeah, Boris is a very trusted guy. Trusting someone will pick up the tab at the restaurant. Trusting someone will pay for his kids. Trusting. He needs a funny video halfway through the stream. Oh, that's right. You never know when it's half time with you. Boris will solve half of the deficit. Defect. LBC businessman says we'll pay them low wages, but that's capitalism, and then says it's the system, but I want to change it. Yeah, I know. It's an interesting mix. I mean, James O'Brien's kind of more like, I think he's more in the favour of it. James O'Brien, from listening to it, I haven't watched the full stuff, guys, but based on the clips that I saw on the video, I think James O'Brien's kind of on the side of it. I'm curious to hear what Phil Morehouse will say, either on the Morning Brew or if he's going to do a video on it. I'm pretty sure he's going to cover it at some point, and I'm curious to hear what Graham Hughes has to say on it as well. Kind of from the Labour point of view, I'm kind of curious to see there. Verbal diarrhea. Okay, big corporations not paying their fair share. Who would have guessed? Yeah, I know. Welcome to America. The Cincinnati state. Yeah, I'm not good with my words. You know that, Joel. I was awake for 20 hours yesterday. We're going to need more housing then, says one angry pagan. Yeah, I mean, housing is a major issue as well. Housing is a major issue as well. So obviously I'm not going to have enough time to cover other stories. I did have a few other stories. So I just want to think what we'll do. We'll go a bit over the time, but I think I'm going to need. Am I going to need to? Okay, I don't know if you guys can read the text there. It might be a bit too small. It's not a bit of a positive story. Not so much good news, but it's more of a fascinating one. It's a shame Conservative's not here, because I'm sure he'll be a big advocate for this. So, talking about housing. What a way! Look at these fine-looking houses, guys. Amsterdam's floating eco community is a model for model living. So what is this all about, guys? So the Dutch are no strangers to living on the water, but a new eco community in Amsterdam is taking things to another level. There has been a booming interest in communal living in recent years, and could be the answer to some of the crises of modernity. In our Let's Live Together series, we're visiting co-living communities around the world to see how they find a solution to loneliness, unaffordable housing, climate change and more. And we ask, is it really a good life? So first stop was Amsterdam. So, Schoolship, the floating eco-community in Amsterdam. Sometimes when a boat passes, it's very windy. Mardeling the block house sway a little. It's built on a canal attached to a jetty and is one of 30 arcs in Amsterdam's Schoonship development, home to around 120 adults and 40 children. At the end of 2018, the first prefabricated arcs were installed and in early 2019, the first residents moved in. It had a series of more than 10 years since the blog had the original idea. A TV producer, she was making a series about sustainable housing. And I thought, this is how I want to live. It was an answer to questions that I didn't even know I had, but I was looking for a way to live more sociably and sustainably. Friends joined her, and over the years it became more formal, involving city planners, architects, raising funds and research sustainability. Now they produce much of their own electricity with solar power and have a smart grid, which means households can share surplus energy and also share electric cars and bicycles. There is a community arc, jelly get-together, exercise classes and a weekly plunge, where residents jump into the water year round. The WhatsApp group is going to make a plea for eggs if you run out, or borrow a hammer. So they're kind of building this idea of, well, why not build on the water? Is kind of thing there. There are no official requirements to pitch in, but because the group is so big, everyone tends to get done. Volunteers tend to lead the floating gardens, and others keep an eye on the jetties. There are people who are active all the time, and others we hardly see, but that's the power of our community, says the blog. Everybody can be themselves. For the children especially, there is a freedom as long as they can swim. We take care of each other's kids, says the blog. Yesterday I was at an event, and my kids didn't want didn't want to be there. My neighbour said, I'll take them. So it being made a social default, says the blog. Before the normal situation felt I was with myself, and if I want to be social, I need to organise it. Now it's the other way around. It's a social way of living. If I want to be alone, I just close my door. Everybody can be themselves. For the children especially, there is freedom. She is aware that something as such as schoonship, which is where everybody owns their home, isn't accessible to everybody. It's hard inside the city to make a project like this look at this very affordable. It took a lot of money and time to build this, and not everybody has that. She's also aware that a small group in Amsterdam is not a solution to the rise in sea levels. We're not stopping climate change. Excuse me. We're just looking to take part in the transition in a more sustainable way of living. They run a lot on tours which help with research and make their knowledge open source. The idea of community being ultimately bigger than their 30 floating arcs. So it's an idea, that's for sure. Lee Khan, missing the whole UBI stuff, he now turns up. Oh, disappointing, Lee Khan. So this idea, obviously, it's an idea I think to help with potentially bring communities together. I think it's definitely something for food for thought, that's for sure. Schoonships floating eco-economy in Amsterdam. I'll put that link in the good news on the Discord server if you guys want to have a look. I'm interested to hear what you guys think of that. Let me come back to here. What else have we got in the chat? So is everybody still saying have we got any more on UBI, have you guys said? The phrase is copyright. I love Amsterdam. Amsterdam's cool. Yeah, me and my missus want to go to Amsterdam. Definitely want to go there. I'm gonna go and live there. At least I'll have a coffee shop. Yeah. Sorry, I'm late. Phone call with the dad. That's all right, Lee. Hope your dad's all right. Floating House has seen that too. Yeah, I mean it's an idea. Idea. The lefty boater knows what it's like to live on the rivers. Just ask him. This is likely going to work in specific material geographic situations. Really good idea, though. I've always wanted to live in a canal boat. Yep, just ask lefty boater, one angry pagan. If all you wonderful peeps hit the like button, if not, please do so, or else. Yeah, or Mad Monk will hit you with a spanner if you're not careful, guys. Or he might use that. Might use that, guys. He'll zap you with his plasma ball, because Mad Monk has his own plasma ball and it's more dangerous than my one. Deborah Hart, evening all, I've been rehearsing this damn keyboard. Oh, hello Deborah, good to see you, I hope you're well. They're building on the water, blimey, Stockholm. No, it's Amsterdam. Are they doing it in Stockholm as well? Oh yeah, that's a great idea. Social housing is vital for community building. Yep, we want more community building, yeah. I do not trust community living. I've had a lot of bad experiences in my hometown community. It was community for some and orchestrated for others. Hence, I do not trust in the collective system like that. Well, I would say, it doesn't work for everybody, but it can work. It can work for some and not for everyone. Some people have bad experience. Some people have good experience. So, is it a perfect solution? No. But is it an idea? Definitely worth looking at. What else? They have to be well designed and proven to work. UBI 4 payments per house max. I mean, if it was like, let's just, what was that? What did they say? What did they say about it here? So, $750 for every Oregon, regardless of age, income status, will be able to receive yearly rebate. For example, a 4-person household will receive 4 rebates, or about $3,000 at each. 4 payments per household. Yeah, I think that's fair. I think that's fair. But also, you open up. Man, there's not a way where people aren't going to be able to cheat this in a way. If you think about it, don't you? Because, like, even if yeah, you say, let's just say, for example, right? Let's just say, for example, Kier, or anybody in the chat there. Let's just say, for example, right? Let's go with what he said. Yeah. So, £1,000 a month, £1,000 a month, guys. Excuse me. £1,000 a month, guys, going to one per person, right? And there's more than 4 people living in the house. Okay, well you're only getting £4,000 now because you've got one extra person. I can see people getting around the system somehow to get more somehow. I just think there's loopholes there. But then I'm making the point that again people can kind of break. There's going to be loopholes in any way, shape or form with universal basic income. To be fair, guys, on that. But it's been an interesting debate, to say the least, guys. That is for sure. I'm 90% sure that Max is going to cover something on universal basic income tomorrow. If not, I'm going to drop in a super chat and tell everyone to come and check out this live stream if he does not cover it on some level. He may even get an expert in, for all I know. I don't know what he said on his server, but I wouldn't be surprised if, of course, he doesn't say anything. So, guys, we are over the time. Thank you guys very much for coming. Very fascinating debate about universal basic income. It's very, very interesting to... you've got a creaky door. Yeah, that's what happens when somebody touches the door. So I'm not happy when the missus or anybody else does that. Can't help it, unfortunately. I'll just put that in the up there for the view. I have a special outro stream video, guys, that you guys might like as well before we go. I do have a funny video, guys, of course, before we go. Hopefully I'm not going to knock the camera and be out of touch, but I want to say a big thank you, guys, for turning up today. Thank you for participating in this discussion about universal basic income. I think it's really fascinating topic, and I think it's one we'll definitely have to come back on and talk to in the future. I would love to have a sit-down discussion with Max and other people about universal basic income. I would love to do that. I'll definitely I might drop him a message actually, and ask him about maybe doing like maybe even if he's interested in doing like a Sunday roast UBI special or something. That would be a good idea. That would be good. Yeah, I appreciate everybody for their inputs there. You know, a vast majority of us here kind of really agreed that universal basic income is something that we want to do. Kind of how we want to do about it, how we want to go forward on that. That is the question for debate. I think we can continue the discussion on Discord. If Mad Monk or All Shorts, if one of you guys can, I don't know if I put a link in the description to the Discord. In the chat, in the description. I don't know if I did or not, but if you can, yeah, we really appreciate it. I have one more funny video for you guys. Let me check if that one is definitely on. Yes. I've got one more video for you guys, and then you've got the outro video. Just want to make sure that one is definitely on. Yes, it's from Lee Korn's favourite two buddies, Larry and Paul. So let's play this one for you guys before we have the very cool outro video I've got for the live stream.
Welcome to Broken News. New laws come into force today which give the Metropolitan Police powers to arrest, imprison and even execute anyone for absolutely anything. The far-reaching laws also protect officers from any legal action. Our reporter has more.
Acting like a bit of a dick, having a suspicious brown face and looking a little bit like you're thinking about crime are just some of the actions that, as of today, constitute criminal behaviour here in London. Alongside the new rules, the Met Police has changed its motto from working together for a safer London to don't even fucking think about it. Senior figures have welcomed the changes, which also grant total legal immunity to any officers carrying out what they say are necessary law enforcement procedures, like kicking someone's head in, shooting dogs in the face, or full-on sexual assault. The force has reiterated that its tolerance for people doing literally anything is the lowest since records began, but has also clarified that major financial fraud and institutional corruption remain beyond its remit. Back to you.
Lovely story. That's all from Broken News. You're up to date.
Broken news. Guys, check out Larry and Paul if you don't already. Absolutely great stuff. So guys, I am going to play the outro video for you guys. I hope you guys have a look at that, because I'm going to be plugging 2 of our favourite YouTubers in that outro video. 2 who have been super supportive, not just to me, but to myself, but to the Snowflake Show. I'm on, at the moment, as of the time of recording, I'm on 93 subscribers, which is an amazing step. We are 96 subscribers with the Snowflake Show, and I can't wait to see both our channels hit that 100 subscriber threshold. So if you guys also can, before you go, hit that like button. That always greatly supports the channel, and share across social media wherever you possibly can. So guys, I'm going to hit you with the outro video. Take care everyone, and I will see you on the Discord.